All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
86, episode 3. Lena has officially been, making contact and maybe building some rapport with Spearhead Squadron.
Mm-hmm.
Cool!
Yeah, Glory did a fucking squadron.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're learning more and more things about the world and how it works and everything. You know, the Legion is the enemy. Definitely not, any kind of AI situation there. No. But then also, if they serve long enough, they can become proper citizens, like human beings even.
It really is
isn't that wonderful?
Don't you want to be an honorary Britannian?
Yeah, it's definitely not a way so that we can just keep separating you since you're all young child soldiers before you get any ideas of revolution in your heads. It's definitely not that.
Definitely not that.
And definitely not because they probably want to disarm all of the people that they've been oppressing before suddenly there's no enemy to fight, and they might think about turning those weapons on the people that have dehumanized them. It definitely doesn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah, just classic stuff there.
But for now, it's all simple and easy,
Right.
Just fight the endless swarm. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that swarm, though.
The swarm stuff specifically in the sky. It
feels like everything that they have is mirrored by, they have a kind of an equivalent mirrored kind of army-wise with their mechs and stuff.
But not the swarm.
Not the swarm.
That's probably the scariest shit of all of the things that I've seen.
Yeah. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Ooh. Rip. That's number 13.
And apologizing.
Unlucky. Okay.
Well, that's a way to start an episode.
Yep. The cat's like, what the fuck is that?
Oh my god.
Oh, look at Anju.
and then background cut and he's there. But see, they're fully clothed, so they're, yeah.
Oh.
Woman of culture.
Yes, indeed.
Oh.
The older, more reserved one here. Yeah.
Wow. That was great. We're child soldiers. We could die tomorrow. Wait, why is he holding up the spoon to his mouth?
To probably keep his breathing down. Oh my god, the way their guns just...
Oh, rocks instead.
The rest of you, yeah. Oh! Oh, that little backspin!
Hit them from behind the bushes.
They all kneel. Right.
Right, yeah, because that's not...
Yeah, she basically did, yeah. Scoot.
There's the catchphrase. We're off the hook. Nope.
I got something.
A knife!
Break her. Whoa.
Damn.
Okay, cool. Confirmation there. It's not intentional.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh. Oh. That's who's
Ouch.
gonna die.
Yep.
Oh.
敵も味方も壊滅した戦場のど真ん中、おまけに揃ってジャガーノートがガス欠ではぐれてたファイドが探し出してくれるまで身動きが取れなかったっていう笑えない状況でな。ファイドですか。
Our dog.
ワンじゃなくて本当に恐ろしい。
Huh. The way she was kind of like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
That's not on the reports or something.
But I guess if they're actually telling her that, maybe it's not a problem.
No, but I...
The voice acting is great.
Yeah.
そちらでは見られなかったのか？一晩中街の明かりが消えないので、こちらでは星なんてほとんど見えないんです。キルシュブリューテン、私たちを恨んでいますか？それはもちろん差別されるのは辛いし悔しいけど、あなたたちアルバの全員が全員悪人じゃないというのもわかる。
Probably the most diplomatic way of saying this that any of them would do it. Oh, and she's gonna draw the Joker.
私は 86 の中でも珍しい人種だったから。
Yeah.
収容所でも以前のタイでもいろいろあったよ。だからアルバというだけで恨んだりしない。そうだったのですか。ではその方々には感謝します。
A lot of other people do not agree with that.
Yeah, no one else is talking at this point.
Yeah.
私からも一つ聞いていいかな。はい、なんでしょう。彼らに送ってあげたいの。戦地にまともな地図がないまま戦ってる。
Without any good maps?
Oh shit. Probably because they don't want them to be able to, you know, do anything they're not supposed to. Oh, there's the map. A lot of them. Look,
And a box coming down on your head.
While there might be some sarcasm in their responses, I could see it starting to maybe be a little bit genuine.
Here's the cat through there. Yeah. It is cat.
Yeah, that was Kurena again.
Yeah. Well, we're getting her perspective of that same time. Yeah. That's why we're racing through to catch up.
They're throwing stuff at her.
Oh. Wow, and it's literally what her friend was saying too, almost. Yeah. Okay. A couple days later. Yeah.
アンダーテイカー、ガンスリンガーを今より西方向、距離500の位置に移してください。そこからだと隠れますが、高台があります。か乱からの撃破に際し、戦闘序盤の本体位置の欺瞞にもつながるかと。要するに踊りってわけか。お姫様みたいな声して大したもんだ。レーベが驚愕。
Yeah. Oh.
Cool.
The way their firing positions are set up.
新しい地図でも見つけたの？便利だね。後で転送しましょうか。いいのかよ。86に軍事機密の地図なんぞ渡して。それから、あなたたちは86などではありません。少なくとも私はそんな風に呼んだ覚えは。
There goes Undertaker.
Yep.
Popping off.
このレーベン、どうしてこんなところに。レオコシア、私が左から狙う。
Oh, here we
It doesn't
go.
work.
そっちはダメです。キレシブリーテ。失言、ここに。
There goes a
Wow.
life.
There you go.
All right. And we get a unique ED for this. Cool. Wow.
All right.
キレシブリーテのことは残念でした。もっと早く地図を見つけていれば。何が残念。あんたにしてみれば86の1匹や2匹。当死のうが家に帰ったらすっかり忘れて夕食楽しめる程度の話だろ。僕たちを戦場に放り出して兵器扱いして戦わせて、自分だけ壁の中でぬくぬく高みの見物決め込んで、それを平気な顔で享受してる今のあんたのその状態が86って呼んだことはない。呼んだことがないだけ。
Yeah.
あんた、僕たちが望んで戦ってるとでも思ってるのか。あんたたちが閉じ込めて戦えって強制して。
There it is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Doesn't at all.
Shit, yeah. You just were nice to your pigs.
Bam. There's an episode. Real name. Okay, yeah.
All right.
Get their real names now.
Oh,
Rip.
man.
Yep.
I really liked this episode.
Yeah, that was really good. There's
Like-
a lot of humanity, a lot
Yep.
of just good showing of the interactions of the characters.
Oh, yeah.
We got to take a break from the action, and yet someone died.
Someone died. And I love that the episode like starts with that. Of like, that's what this episode is about. And then we get back around to it at the end. Because the after credit scene, it's like, yes, that needed to happen at some point, right? They might put up with her, but when it comes right down to it, no, it's not that you aren't treating them like, you know, subhuman. It's that you're being nice to the subhumans, right? They're your pets, right?
Don't pretend like you're basically doing a good thing here by being like, they're their little livestock.
Right.
I'm not like the other ones.
Even if you're genuinely trying to connect to them and everything, you're still not doing anything about their situation. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And she even had the audacity to try to tell them a story about what made her want to join the military, and that she chose that because she was saved by a processor who was like, oh, yeah, we have to do our part.
Right.
I was born and raised here.
Now, to be fair, you know, that was something that was asked, right? They asked why do you care about us, right?
Well,
those
are not the same thing in my opinion. That was a story that she used as a framework for why she cares about them. But that was not about that. If you think about it, the story is about why she cares about winning the war and about doing her part and being competent.
Okay.
And her part of being competent is getting to know them. Thus, the aspect of getting to know them has nothing to do with humanity. It has to do with running a squad more effectively.
Right. I need
to use my tools and my livestock the best way possible.
Right. It's still buying into the lie, basically, that these people choose to be here, right?
Which is absolutely
they're making
not
a sacrifice
true.
or whatever. No. They're being forced
They're
to be
cursing your name.
Right. Exactly. And
shooting effigies of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
But hey, communication, we have it. Now she has a bit more understanding. And the thing is, and
And still, you ended up being incompetent at a very unfortunate timing point because you were making an effort to, at the very least, get to know a group of, 24 to 20 people, because, 3 of them have already died now.
Right.
That's something that's, a start, and you can't just, you can't solve this problem by yourself by talking with anybody anyway.
So, the map data was helpful. If you can make it so that less of them die, that's still good, but that doesn't make you like some perfect I'm fixing the whole situation.
That doesn't even make it a good thing. Like, one of the things that I think is really, really interesting with regards to when people show kindness is context. There's a lot of things that people do that are looked at and pulled out of their context, and you go, oh, that was a kind thing that you did. But maybe if you look at it in the context, you go, oh, you're just doing the bare minimum, aren't you?
Kindness has a connotation of intent, right?
Right.
The things that she does might be desirable, and the Spearhead Squadron are definitely willing to accept the helpful things that she does. Oh, you want to read our reports? Cool. Oh, you want to give us map data? Okay, that sounds helpful. Oh, you're actually going to give us a map. All right. We won't argue,
Oh, you're not going to yell slurs at us. Wonderful. This is the best night.
Right, exactly. They're in the shittiest of jobs possible, and at least the manager isn't too often making that worse. Even though she is making
that's a great way to describe
in other areas,
Yeah.
So
that's like, you know what I think about that is? It's really funny. So I worked retail a lot. And one of the things that was a way that I kind of got into retail without really any experience or any like any great interview skills or what have you, was I just came during the holidays.
Sure, when
they were just desperate for people, and I was younger and stuff, and they were just like, okay, cool, get in here, yep, work the tell or what have you. But before they would open on those big holidays, the manager that we would never see, and I mean like the general manager, like the big guy, he would come out and he would do a speech about how we're going to do all this. We're going to make this work. We're going to do... And it was team building and inspiring kind of stuff there. And I'm like...
But you're not actually on the front lines in the trenches with us.
Right. Is the idea that a lot of the people that have been working there for more than 2 years, basically, anyone who had had their spirit slightly broken a little bit by the fact that they were working in retail. And, I mean, it's soul-crushing. It's soul-crushing. The customers can be awful, and the managers can be even worse than the awful customers.
Yep.
Now, I luckily had a great manager. That was great. But the general manager had that kind of out of touch, like, I'm there with you. No. There was a guy directly underneath him who was out there with us.
Right.
We trusted him. That's Shin, basically, in this case here.
Right.
Shin's out there bleeding with
Lena.
us.
Yeah.
When I had a really shitty customer, like twice over the course of working at this job, this guy came to me and rescued me from them. And he would deal with them. And he would do that for tons of other people as well. So he was a great manager. Guy above him, he was
could have been nobody.
He was a number cruncher. He was there. He was the kind of guy that would move the skew on a whole bunch of other things around in the shop and say we had to like come in super early to make sure that, things were adjusted so that we could, optimize the sales of this retail store, which we don't gain any benefit from.
Right.
So it's that disconnect where you have someone that's there with you, but, like, I'm actually doing this work with you as well. And then the other person that's like, we're going to do amazing today, aren't we? And it's like, what basis do you have to say that?
Right.
You literally leave everything to the managers beneath you anyway, because that's how it
works.
To be fair, that's how a good organization should be run. You should delegate that stuff entirely. Exactly. But it just felt that little bit of like, don't have any illusions here.
Have those talks with the managers that you oversee.
Exactly.
And then have those managers go out and have those talks. Because the words and stuff and everything, having those kinds of talks, that can be really helpful, But the fact that
other
it's
stuff
coming
will
from
leak out
you,
that-
it means nothing.
Right. And this is a way more extreme version.
Yeah,
of
this is
that.
a way more extreme version of that.
Yeah.
The time that I had where I was working at a Chipotle and I ended up just quitting was because there was a mid-level manager that I thought was one of the he's got my back. All up until the point where the actual manager comes in and he throws me under the bus for not doing something that he didn't teach me how to do. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm going. It's yeah. So the fact that we have this rude awakening for Lena here, I love it.
Where they're like, we don't need your hypocrisy.
Yeah, and she even
it means nothing to us.
And she even has the gall to apologize for the death of one of their close friends right after it happens. Do you think they care about your feelings right now? Do you think they don't already have enough to deal with? It's the person at the funeral, right?
Yeah.
For a very close family member that comes in and tries to tell you about how close they were to the person who died and how much it's hurting them. It's like,
well, right, especially if
Stop.
especially if it's very clear that they're like a stranger. They don't actually have any. They don't have any relationship with them.
yeah, if it's someone who actually was also very close.
I get what
you can commiserate, but
I get what you're trying to come across with here, because there is a very real thing of where when someone has very little connection to other people, but they have the desire to have some level of connection, but they're not there yet. You can end up speaking in assumptive language, like you already have the connection, because you're reading your own intent into the actual situation. But intent doesn't mean shit.
right.
Intent doesn't mean shit. That's the idea of kindness in context. Some people will intend to do something kind or to do something compassionate, but when you look at it in context, the intent doesn't matter. The actual result is what matters.
It feels like it reminds me of the Moneyball conversation of if you're going to fire somebody, don't try and be nice to them about it. Just tell it to them straight. You're already making their day way worse. If you are slow with shooting them in the head, basically, right? That's not doing them a kindness.
Waterboarding them with
Yeah,
this.
exactly. Just get it over with, right?
Do your role and be done with it.
Right.
Now, Lena is a very unique character in that she feels kind of like a Suzaku type character from
Sure.
Code Geass. She very much wants to do her part to be the shining light amidst the corrupted waste of the Republic, but she's playing in their sandbox with their sand and their rules and participating and benefiting from the system that she's building.
In the same way that the 86 did not choose to be born 86. Well, granted, they weren't 86 when they were born. That was a whole thing that happened because 9 years ago. But Lena also did not choose to be born Alba. That was not her choice. And she very much has this feeling of I am a misfit in this society that I am a part of.
Yeah, that's very understandable. That totally makes sense.
And yet the society is very beneficial to her. There are a lot of things that she just sort of takes for granted. Right. Oh, I can send you a classified map. It's no big deal. My uncles, I have never really personally had to deal with consequences for, breaking the rules, right? And it shows. Yeah. And just like she had a rude awakening here, there's going to be a rude awakening with her place in this society once she starts to realize, oh, maybe my place isn't so rock solid. Oh, I'm sympathizing with them. I'm not just saying all of this in our society, but I'm telling them these things that might make them think maybe we don't deserve to be 86s. Maybe we could actually fight back. Wait, you gave them a map?
Well, she hasn't given it to them yet.
Right. But if she does, I could totally see that being the thing that pushes her over the line from you have opinions we don't like to you just committed treason.
You just committed treason. Yeah, exactly. I'm really interested to see how the uncle, what was his name? Jerome? I think it was Jerome. Yeah, General Jerome Carsall. Yeah. I would love to see the point in where he's like, I actually put out a lot to make sure that you don't have any reports that get you in trouble. So
I'm not helping you anymore.
You need to stop.
Yeah.
And I would love to see her be like, no.
Well,
no, fuck you. I'll bring you down with me if you're, going to be helping a dirty supporter of the 86 or what have you. And that could be really interesting because I really feel like he's he's an ally because of her father.
Right.
And it's not necessarily because of like her being irreplaceable. It's the idea that the war is being just won by the fact that they're surviving.
Right.
You know, because they just have to wait it out for another 2 years.
Yeah, the Republic is in a pretty good place right now. Like
Yeah, from our perspective, things look pretty good.
In the same way that, like, you know, treason gets thrown around a lot more during wartime than, like, say, at peacetime.
True.
I could see the Republic being a little bit more accepting of the kinds of things that Lena does or other people like her, because the ship's not sinking.
We're already
basically
committing human genocide anyway.
Well,
so,
right, but
you
like,
know, we don't really care about if you're like, you're still helping us win the war. We don't care about that. We'll court-martial you after the war's over.
We're on the final stretch of the race. You know, there's not, the competition isn't anywhere close. Is there any competition? You know, so like,
yeah, that's another good point.
If we cross the line slowly, it's not going to be too big of a deal.
To throw another ball into the AI theory with regards to the Legion, the fact that they're called a Legion, that's one other reason,
right? And
the fact that they specifically said that they're just kind of running off of their programming.
It actually feels weird that the Republic isn't openly calling them AI.
No. I wanted to bring up this just thing. I agree.
Or maybe they are because they call them drones. But
yeah, but my thing is the thing of, if you had a warring faction that you were working against, right? And you had a propaganda campaign by which you could have your citizens be okay with the war going on for all this time and having all these casualties because you dehumanized a significant portion of the population.
And it's not them, so, you know.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of fucked up stuff within that. But I'm surprised they haven't ever, because we saw military police, they haven't ever black bagged somebody because of the potential of either them being a spy or a sympathizer for the 86. Well, now, we saw the military police guy kind of give the, I'm watching you.
Right.
But because he didn't do anything, I'm guessing that they've never really had an infiltrator or a spy or something like that because there is no human element in the Legion. You don't have...
Exactly.
You don't have that kind of thought process in your enemy. So
it's a concern, but it's not an active, imminent threat.
Right. They're more maybe concerned about maybe people that are undermining their cause rather than working directly with the enemy, if that makes sense.
I get the feeling that what they're really concerned about is, not the Legion, because, they'll
long-term sustainability and all that.
Well, no, it's the making sure that there are no problematic people in potential positions of power when the time comes to recycle the 86. When it's the point of, okay, we need to now disarm them because the fighting's over and we don't want them to turn around. Make sure that, that there's no one with any close ties to them, no one that has had their loyalties, starting to get questioned or whatever.
Or just keep the squad separate enough communication-wise that they can't all talk to each other.
And that's probably one of the important things about the making sure they don't have maps. It's the, what can 24 people do even if they have mechs and they don't know where they are?
Yeah, they don't know where they are, but also they don't know where the other squads of 86 are.
Yeah, they don't know where the other squads of 86 are. They don't know where we really are. They wouldn't know where any, I
think they could actually logic out where they are. If they're on the front lines and they know that the enemy always comes from this direction, they can just go, well, they're probably over here.
Right, but they wouldn't know any, details of, if they were going to try and turn against the Republic, how would they move? How would they get there? What are the key places that they would need to be aware of? Nothing like that.
Yeah.
But
all right. Okay. We get a little bit more of the names by having the girls all hang out and have a very, in some ways, tame, not even really fan service part where it's just no, they're in their gear. They're just kind of taking down their tank tops and they all are still packing. So the second, something moves in the force, that was so funny.
That was wonderful.
But I love that they all had the training and the presence of mind that none of them fired.
Right.
They all immediately just turned and swiveled and they were immediately disappointed by oh my God, really? Right. Daya, you? Don't you have a girlfriend? That's the thing I think they're implying is that Anju and Daya are an item.
Either that, or I feel like Anju or Daya wants to be an item with Anju.
Maybe, but that's the thing. The knife was thrown, and then Anju showed up and was like, Daya, and it was like she
has a there. Yeah,
I think they're a thing.
There's a special place.
He also helped her with the cake,
Right, exactly.
The first. They have
they have a different than usual relationship.
Right.
Who knows what the details of that are? But yeah,
and I love his what's a nightly visit, and he like said it with
like the KN.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, who knows? Maybe that's what it is. That like maybe they've had some nightly visits, and it's like part of the joke.
Right. And that could also be the thing that's kind of funny is that if they're if they're rather young and stuff, it's the thing of where there's young people coming in here that are not getting taught basic education stuff.
Sure.
Like they don't know how to read or write.
Nope.
They don't have sex ed. They don't have
I get the feeling
all kinds of other stuff there.
There will be plenty of pure sex ed, but
no. I'm saying that.
Sex ed.
I'm saying that. I understand. But sex ed sometimes comes across by someone asking here, what's a nightly visit? Mm-hmm. And it's just funny because if Daya's the one asking that, I think he's joking. But if he is the one asking that, he seems to be one of the older people there. So that's just really
so if
funny.
That's a serious question.
If that's a serious question, then, that would be really funny.
That could be a...
I think that's why he made it as a joke, is that he knows what he's talking about. But
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I also got to say, I really appreciated the fact that they... as a result of like them keeping their gear, that kind of just makes it feel a bit more realistic too, because they weren't technically supposed to be like, having water fights and bathing and stuff. They were, they were doing a chore and they all get in on it so that they can then like relax and play around. But there might be other work that they need to do. There might be something where they're called to like, duty on a moment's notice because they don't really know what's going on.
But that's the thing. That's actually world building. You're right. Because it was Shin, aka Undertaker, aka Reaper, who said, no, it'll be okay. Because if they know that the enemy is coming like at a specific time and kind of place or what have you, his prescience might be way bigger than they originally thought.
That's true.
So by him saying, no, it's okay.
Right.
The kinds of levels of like, there won't be an attack today. Like,
sure,
you are good.
Yeah.
And he maybe can't say that, but he's like, no. This is a good time. We had someone die recently. Go take a breather.
Yeah.
Go have some time. That's good. I think that's really cool. Also, Kurena, someone who's crushing on Shin, had a little bit of focus here.
Yep.
And her parents were used as target practice, essentially, for this whole thing. So she hates the fact that this girl's coming in here and just being like, I'm just going to insert myself into your guys' nighttime.
Right.
No, that's
the one time we get a break from you guys.
She would like actually want to be spending time with Shin as well.
And I love that even though Shin is like the stoic type and everything, and who knows what he knows about if she likes him or whatever, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
He's an effective leader, so he has a good finger on the pulse of the people in his squad.
Totally.
But when she came back, he patted the couch next to him.
To sit next to him. Yeah.
To sit next to him. But she didn't actually sit next to him. She sat
on the couch.
On the farthest away side.
Yeah, she left a full space of there. And I was just like, oh, girl.
Yeah. And that's there's a lot that's being communicated there, and I really liked that touch of detail.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where if you have a story where you have too many characters,
and 24 is too many.
It's too many. You need to be really efficient and really use show don't tell with regards to your delivery method of the characterization of this cast, because tell is slower on a factor, like a massive factor than show,
because it's more specific.
Yes,
but we don't necessarily need things to be super specific. We can get the idea. There's more for us to wonder about in the fact that Shin pats the couch right next to him.
Picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, picture's worth 1,000 words. So that was wonderful.
That was cool. I wanted to just bring up the idea though that we had it also confirmed that Shin does not intentionally break them.
Yes,
but
the other people in the squad know that he does.
Shin knows maybe what is also doing it, but the squad knows that he does it, not them. Meaning that what they do, like what what I believe that was the blonde guy, Laughing Fox, probably. So that would be actually we can logic this out.
That was talking to her afterwards.
At the very end. That's the young guy that came at the end. The one on the right there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. They never said his name because I think he kept they kept asking to the right of them.
Passing the buck to Daya.
But yeah, I think that's Laughing Fox. But he's the one that popped off and ranted at Lena.
Gotcha.
And sorry, where was I going with this?
They know that Shin is the one that breaks people.
Right.
They aren't able to break people.
That act there isn't a part of the breaking process.
Right.
That's just the actual
That's just
daily
the regular
life.
human stuff.
That's just the regular interactions that they would probably have.
That could very easily break somebody. Lena
Yeah.
didn't seem to be taking it too well.
Yeah.
But that helps to clarify that the stuff that happens that causes the, I forget what the term is, but the managers, the people in Lena's position to break is something beyond. Handlers,
There's
yes.
processors and handlers.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not just the general, like PTSD type stuff or whatever the equivalent would be from
it's something
dealing
more.
with them in this situation.
It's probably his Reaper nickname coming into play of where he is carrying the
voices
of the dead within him, and also Undertaker, so that works pretty well.
Right.
And that is being passed along somehow through Pararaid, and it is not being passed along to the squad.
Right.
I am really curious as to why that is, because that's something that I feel like is intentional. That is not an overstep. That is not an overstep. That is not a oversight. Meaning that if you're going to have a situation where you have this integrated technology with the brain kind of stuff here, obviously there's the classic themes of domination and control.
Sure.
That's
Although
obviously a potential theme in a sci-fi. Sorry, what were you going to say?
it did seem like they had some ability to turn it off, because when Karena had her freak out and they were like, oh, it's a rat. And then she went out and she had the rant to, I believe it was Daya.
Yeah.
The light was like red. It was red, and then she touched it when she came back and sat down, and it turned green again.
Yeah, I think they can turn it off because they're just on the receiver. But they have much simpler tech. I think that's it. Is that she has something around her neck, right?
Right.
Lena, and she has the thing on her
right. So
on her ear, right? Let me double check here. When she's talking with them, do they show it? No. Okay. So that's it. Is that she has a much more advanced version of the tech that's connected with her.
Probably because it's updated.
Right. So it's probably going directly into her spine that's, going into her brainstem and what have you.
But that was something that I thought was interesting that would be in there as a detail, because since this is about subjugation, right, I would think that you wouldn't want the 86 to be able to turn it off if, connection was established. Maybe because connection was established more with Shin than the rest of them, it wasn't a problem, but she did seem to be talking to all of them when she would speak. So, I thought that was curious, because I would have also thought that one of the reasons that they have it like this is so that then they have to do the kinds of nonverbal communications that they've done previously, because, they don't want to let Lena know what they're really saying about her, drawing the pictures of the pig in the dress and, doing things like that. But this was a situation where that wasn't actually an issue.
Yeah, I don't see any point where actually her thing is off or red.
There is a point we could.
Oh, there it is. No. They're both touching it at certain points here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when she comes back in here. Yeah, he had already touched it back then.
Yeah,
it's there. It's red. Yeah, and then she touches it
and turns it back to green.
Yeah, cool. You're right. Yeah, really cool detail.
And that's just something that I feel like the more, since the Pararaid is clearly like a plot relevant device, right? It has been built up more in the story than I would normally assume it would need to be built up for just they can talk to each other kind of a deal. So the more we find out about the intricacies of the technology, I feel like that there's a high probability that it could be plot relevant, even if this could just be an innocuous little detail.
No, I think you're right.
But
I think you're right.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I think on some level though, that's it can't be also just receivers because they use it
to talk to each other and
Well, no, maybe
because they were like, why didn't if you had to ask us something, why not just use the para-raid, right?
right.
So
They can activate it amongst themselves.
right.
So they don't have just receivers; they can speak to each other.
Right, but she clearly has like admin privileges, basically.
Yeah,
which is like,
she
okay,
has.
sure.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing is that her tech has the ability to do more. It's just she
Right, maybe she
primarily
could-
uses it for listening
Right.
and speaking.
Yeah, maybe like
and
they
theirs
have it,
can only listen and speak.
right. They can turn it on and off just in case like they don't want to be talking to each other or something like that. But she could just press on and like make sure that all of them are forced to listen to what she's saying, and she can listen to whatever they're saying or something like that.
That's also another thing. I'm surprised that hasn't ever come up of the. Well, I don't want to say this on Pararate. They could be listening.
Sure. Yeah. Like the fact that they even feel like they know that when they turn it off, it's actually off.
Mm-hmm.
That also seems like curious. Like I wouldn't be
Right.
surprised at all even if Lena isn't listening to
They
it.
probably tested it. They
Sure.
probably tested it where they're like, all right, now turn it off. Go over there. Now
All right.
scream everything you hate about them
Right.
and how you're going to kill them all and do all.
Right.
Just say everything absurd and obscene about the Republic. And the things that would get you, like, and they're like, okay,
Right.
you gotta do it. And then everyone else is like, okay, all right, we're gonna turn off our
he
suit.
did it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nothing?
All
They
right.
usually, like, say something. And they could test it by being like, say something that's kind of bad while it's on, and then see if they'll respond. And then they had some horrible hand. I was like, how dare you? Blah, 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 blah. And then they
Right.
start some shouting match at each other. And then it's like,
How's the plan for taking out the Republic? Do you have the the things that we need to run?
right. Yeah.
Right.
That could be interesting. But yeah, they don't need to talk about that anymore because we know that they've already talked about that by the fact that they non-verbally communicate when
Exactly.
they have to have Pararate on, maybe.
Right. So it's just
Yeah.
it's more details for that. It's like, okay, it's interesting. One of the other things that I was cool for thought was cool for the technology that they established here is that a mech could be so easily taken out if something as simple as wetlands ends up being a problem. Because with the way that they move around, of course wetlands would fuck up your mech, and then you're dead. You're not moving. You're a sitting duck.
Yeah.
So Lena sending them the map, that would actually be like a very big deal.
Yeah, and it also makes sense that urban environment that they were at, the broken city and all that,
They don't need to deal with.
Well, no, that was one of the best spots for them to fight because the
Everything's
cover,
solid.
well, the cover nullifies the numbers disadvantage, and it also, it's a lot of good traction for them to
Right.
move around, and the way they kind of have these like claw wheel like things, so there's grip, but there's also a way for them to slide and spin,
Right,
and
move in
turn.
lots of different directions very quickly, but that's still not necessarily all terrain,
Yeah,
So.
transport there. So,
Yeah.
all right, there we go. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb,
I'm Jacob.
and we'll see you all
Next time.